Bull JG, the TNT guys said it after the game last night. I'm curious if you agree, but they all came to the conclusion that if there were any doubts that this Cavs team was legitimate contenders and threats to the Boston Celtics in the long run, not just a good regular season, but to potentially represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals this year, those thoughts should have been put to rest by their performance last night. They are 100% bought in that this Cavs start is not a fluke and this team is legit. Do you guys echo those sentiments now that we are 16 games into the season, the streak is over, and they have faced the defending champs?
Yes, I'm 100% in, and the number one reason is Evan Mobley, like I alluded to before. He is playing like a superstar. And I'm probably going too far. I've mentioned this reference before, but it was year 4 that Tim Duncan went from like good player to superstar.
Yeah.
If he could be anywhere close, maybe it's a silly comparison. I'm not a basketball expert, but I keep thinking about Tim Duncan. I don't know why. And you know, I mean, the way he played last night was amazing. They're not in this game without him. He carried them in the third quarter, and he's so aggressive. It's like he's a totally different player, and he's the reason that I believe they're legit. You know, everything else, the bench guys are going to be hot and cold. I'm not going to, you know, like they've played great, but Evan Mobley has played great from the start of the season. He has taken his game up, not a notch, multiple notches. And because of that, I am 100% a believer that the Cavs are a legitimate NBA title contender this year.
I'm gonna change where I was going with this. I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I'm gonna say that they are a legit title contender under one circumstance.
Oh, there's an if.
Yes, there's an if to this. That circumstance is the Cleveland Cavaliers must have home court advantage.
Interesting.
They must have the number 1 overall seed so that when they do see the Boston Celtics, they have that in their back pocket.
Oh, yeah.
And because I'm looking at 2 things. First of all, you're not getting no calls in Boston. Like, I'm just being honest with you.
Well, that's the way the association
That's the way it works.
I think you thought the calls were unfair for the Cavs?
I'm just saying, you're not getting those calls.
But I mean, that's the way the association is, and it always has been.
You're not going to get that.
You don't get those calls on the radio.
Second of all, I don't trust our role players aren't up to a high enough level where you can count on them giving you enough propulsion to get to the finish line on the road. Our guys, especially when we have our tier fringe starters, right? Like our fringe superstars. Like Darius Garland's a fringe star. Like at home he plays a certain way. On the road, it's a different thing. You don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
Even to a certain extent. If Evan Mobley explodes and he does what he needs to do, right, on the road, what do he do? He give you 25? Like that's 25.
I get your point. I don't know. Maybe you're looking at it differently than I think Adam and I are looking at it. I'm looking at it like this. I think you're looking at it as the question is, can they win the NBA title? Like, or will they win the NBA title?
Yeah.
Can they? 100%.
Yeah.
They can. As constructed today, this team can win. Okay, so you play 4 games in Boston. I feel like they can steal one.
Yeah, sure.
After what I saw last night, we got a historically trash effort out of one of our stars. Mm-hmm. Now, you also can't assume that everybody else is going to play as well as they did.
Right.
Will Mobley play as well as he did once you get Porzingis in the middle?
But Donovan didn't shoot great.
No, he didn't, and I agree with your point, by the way. 13 of 29, that's an off shooting.
And Jared Allen didn't play a fantastic game. So
right. I agree with that. But so I don't think we're asking the question, will they win the NBA championship? No. I think the question was, are they a legitimate contender? And I have no qualifiers to that. I have no ifs to that. I've seen enough to say this team is a legitimate NBA championship contender.
I think the Celtics are clearly the favorites, and they
agree.
deserve to be.
I agree.
And I think the Cavs right now are as good as anybody else.
100%.
They're right there. I mean, but the Celtics are going to be the toughest team to beat in the playoffs for anybody.
They are. But I think the Cavs will be a contender.
Yep.
I think they can. I like what you're saying about the home court edge. Look, you obviously like your chances of winning a series much more if you have home court advantage. But how many times have we seen in the playoffs the road team steals game one, and now all of your efforts for 82 games are out the window, and now you're backpedaling? So, I think the Cavs are okay. I think they are a contender. My biggest concern, so I guess this would be a qualifier and an if, and this I think goes for every team. They got to be healthy.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't have one of your front four tent poles go down for a significant amount of time, or worse yet, at the end of the season and into the playoffs.
Yeah.
You've got to be healthy when it matters most. And if they are, I think
we'll
be talking about the Cavs to the Eastern Conference Finals. 100%. And yes, I would say that they have a legitimate chance to win it all.
Yeah.
Mikey, you agree with all that?
Yeah, I'm glad the game did not end how the first half went yesterday, because then there would have been all the doubters who come out of the woodworks and say, see, we told you it was fluky and this wasn't real. Yeah. And you could always make the argument that, just like we said on Monday about Sunday's game, did the Cavs start playing with their food and take their foot off the gas against Charlotte? You could say Boston may have done that, may have not. But the way they fought back, despite Boston's historical shooting performance, I think solidified to a lot of people who weren't believers beforehand that this team is legit. And I think it gives some validity that you can go toe-to-toe, despite not having your best game, against the defending champs. And I tweeted this last night, and I want your guys' thoughts on this, and we'll bring in Sean King, who is going to wrap up his segment with some Darius Garland thoughts. So we're going to save the DG stuff from Sean for the end. But when you go into the defending champ's house in an NBA Cup game, and you can say it doesn't matter, but it did, because they lost their first one. They admitted it was a game they knew they had to win.
They're in the driver's seat now.
Well, the Hawks technically are 2-0, so... But
I'm talking between Boston and Cleveland. Boston now clearly has the edge with the win.
To go into the defending champ's house and beat them on their home court, you have to play an A game. Maybe not an A+, but you need an A game. Right. And I thought the Cavs played a C+, B- game in totality. And that may even be being a little bit generous, considering how poorly Darius played and how poorly they defended the three-point line. You're not going to beat Boston with a C+, B-.
Never.
And I'm curious, just real quick before we bring Sean in, how would you overall grade the Cavs' performance? Because I agree in the question, are they title contenders? Yes. But last night, what would you grade?
I would have given them a B-. I don't know if I'd go as low as a C+. And the only reason I say that is because they didn't quit. But to your point, maybe I'm okay with a C+, because, guys, I was staring at the TV in complete disbelief, watching them completely fall apart, particularly on the perimeter defense. But I know that under this coach, they've been more offensive-minded, but their defense has been good too. And I felt like they were playing a pickup game in the first half. Yeah.
I think so I give them a C. And the reason I give them a C, obviously, we talked about Darius Garland. I think they went away from Mobley. We talked about that. I think Jared Allen played an average game. I wouldn't say it was an explosive Jared Allen game. I thought that they didn't really get what they were used to getting from Ty Jerome. So I gave them a C. But I think we have to look at it like this. The Boston Celtics are looking at us like the Cavs used to look at other people. Were the Hawks or the Toronto Raptors legitimate title contenders? Sure. But they were like, listen, we just beat this same team 4-1.
Yeah.
We just beat you in our house. We're 5-1 in our last 6 games. What makes you think we're going to be spooked by you? So the Cavs have to catch them.
What grade would you give the Celtics?
I would give the Celtics probably.
Take into account how well they shot the basketball. Historically high level.
Here, I'm a B. And the reason I'm going to give them a B is because, once again, I felt they let their foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought they would mask a lot of the stuff that they were letting happen was this three-point shooting.
I agree with that. I'd give Boston a B.
They played really good defense.
And here's again, I'm finding silver linings. If you're giving Boston a B and they shot the ball at a historical clip, and you're giving the Cavs a C, which is fair, I guess, and we lost by 3, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a legitimate contender.
Right.
Go ahead, Mike.
Bull, did you grade him? If you did, I missed it.
I gave the Cavs a C as well.